Germany are out of the World Cup. Four-time champions, one of the biggest names in the sport, knocked out in the round of 32 by Paraguay. And they did not just lose. They had a goal ripped away in extra time by a video review that the German manager called an absolute scandal. Then they lost a penalty shootout for the first time in their entire World Cup history. This is the story of the night the giant fell, the ghost goal that changed everything, and why this is now the third tournament in a row that has ended in humiliation for Germany. Understand who just went home. Germany have won the World Cup 4 times. They are the machine, the team that always finds a way, the country famous for being ice cold when a match comes down to penalties. Paraguay came in as heavy underdogs, a proud football nation, but nobody's picked to knock out a giant. On paper, this was not supposed to be close. And for long stretches, it was not close in the way everyone expected. Germany had the ball, Germany had the chances. Germany looked like a team that would eventually wear their opponent down. But a World Cup does not care about reputations or history. It cares about who holds their nerve on the night. And by the end of this one, it was the underdog standing tall and the 4-time champion on the floor. Here is how the 90 minutes actually went. Against the run of play, Paraguay struck first. In the 42nd minute, Julio Enciso rose to meet a cross from Matías Galarza and powered a header past Manuel Neuer. The underdogs led at the break, and a stadium full of neutrals suddenly sat up. Germany came out for the second half with the pressure turned all the way up. 9 minutes after the restart, Florian Wirtz whipped a ball in from the flank, and Kai Havertz glanced a header into the net. 1-1. That was Havertz's third goal of the tournament, and it felt like the moment the favorite would take over. But Paraguay did not fold. They dug in, they defended for their lives, and they dragged one of the best teams on the planet into exactly the kind of chaotic, nervy night that swallows giants whole. Then came the moment that will be argued about for years. Deep into extra time, Germany won a corner. The ball came in, and Jonathan Tah climbed above everyone to head it home. Germany thought they had won it. The players wheeled away, and then the video review stepped in. The officials ruled that in the build-up, Waldemar Anton had fouled the Paraguay goalkeeper, Orlando Gil, pushing him to the ground with what looked like the lightest of contact. The goal was wiped off the board. Germany's manager, Julian Nagelsmann, was furious. His words afterward were blunt. "It's not just a scandal," he said. "It's an absolute scandal, and that is not even remotely a foul." Now, football's rulemakers would later defend the call. But in that instant, a team that believed it had just booked its place in the next round was sent back to start again, and the door to disaster swung wide open.
So it went to penalties, the one place Germany were supposed to be untouchable. It started as badly as it could. Havertz stepped up first, and Paraguay's goalkeeper guessed right and saved it. Paraguay scored. Kimmich answered. Paraguay scored again. Musiala kept Germany alive. Then Woltemade walked up, and Orlando Gil saved a second German penalty. This is where you expect the champions to punish a mistake, and for a moment they did. Sanabria dragged his effort wide. Amiri buried his. And then Manuel Neuer, the veteran, guessed right and saved from Balbuena. 3-3, sudden death, one kick at a time. Up stepped Jonathan Tah, the same man whose goal had been chalked off minutes earlier, and he blazed his penalty high over the bar. Paraguay only needed one. José Canales struck it clean into the top corner, and it was over. Paraguay had knocked out Germany. Let me put in perspective just how stunning this is. Before tonight, Germany had never lost a penalty shootout at a World Cup, not once. They had won every single one, against France, against Mexico, against England, against Argentina. Ice in their veins every time. That aura is gone. And this is not a one-off bad night out of nowhere. Remember what came before. Defending champions dumped out in the group stage in Russia, then out in the group stage again in Qatar, and now out in the round of 32 here. 3 tournaments in a row, 3 early exits, each one more painful than the last. A reporter from German television summed up the mood in one line, calling it a complete disaster again, after Russia, after Qatar, now the next embarrassment. For a nation that treats football like a birthright, this is not just a loss, it is a crisis. Now, in fairness, let me give you the other side. Because this was not simply handed to Paraguay. They earned it. They defended with everything they had. They took their penalties without blinking, and their goalkeeper was the hero of the night with 2 crucial saves. That is not luck. That is nerve. And on the disallowed goal, football's own referees chief came out and backed the decision, explaining that officials are now told to punish attackers who ignore the ball and deliberately block a goalkeeper, even with small contact. So this was not some rogue call. It was the rule being applied, hard. You can hate the outcome and still admit the underdog was worthy. Germany had their chances across 120 minutes and could not put the game away. When you leave the door open at a World Cup, someone eventually walks through it, and Paraguay walked right through. So where does this leave everyone? Paraguay march on to the round of 16, where a monster is waiting for them in the shape of France. Germany fly home to a reckoning, with hard questions about their manager, their aging squad, and how a football superpower keeps falling this early. One video review, one skied penalty, and a giant is gone. Here is the question I want to leave you with. Was that goal wrongly disallowed, or did Germany only have themselves to blame? Tell me in the comments. If you want the sharpest, fastest takes on this World Cup as the knockouts explode, subscribe and stick around, because there is a lot more chaos coming.